Gopinath Mama Nivedanas. Gopinath Mama Nivedana Suno. Gopinath Mama Nivedana Suno. Gopinath Nivedana Suno. Vishayi Durjana Sada Kamarata Kichu Nahi Mora Guna. Vishayi Durjana Sada Kahi Mora Guna. Vishayi Durjana Sada Kamarata Kichu Nahi Mora Guna. Gopinath Amara Barasatu Me. Tomara charane loeno sharana tomara kinkara ami. Tomara charane loeno sharana tomara kinkara ami. Gopinath que mone shodibe more nam shodibe more na jane bhakati karme jada mati porechi samsara ghore. Na jane bhakati karme jada mati porechi samsara ghore. Gopinath sakale tomara maya. Sakale tomara maya nahi mama bala. Jnana sunirmala svadina nahe kaya. Nahi mama bala. Svadina nahe kaya. Gopinath niyate charane sthana. Pina niyata charane sthana Gopina Niyata charane sthana Mage pamara Khandiya khandiya karo he karuna dhana Khandiya khandiya karo he karuna dhana Mage pamara Khandiya khandiya karo he karuna dhana Mage pamara Khandiya khandiya karo he karuna dhana Gopina Tumi to sakali paro Gopina Durjane tarite Tomar shakati ke ache papiraro Durjane tarite Tomar shakati ke ache papiraro Tomar shakati ke ache papiraro Gopina Tume kripa parabara Gopina Tume kripa parabara Gopina Tume kripa parabara Gopina Jivera karane Asiya prapanche Lila koile subistara Asiya prapanche Lila koile subistara Jivera karane Asiya prapanche Lila koile subistara Asiya prapanche Lila koile subistara Gopina Amiki doshe doshi Gopina Amiki doshe doshi Gopina Amiki doshe doshi Gopina Doshe doshi Asura sakala Bhailo charana Vinodatha kilo bosi. Asura sakala Bhailo charana Vinodata kilo bhosi. Vinodata kilo bhosi. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Can read translation.
Please hear my request. I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess.
O Gopinath, you are my only hope, and therefore I have taken shelter at your lotus feet. I am now your eternal servant.
This sinner who is weeping and weeping begs for an eternal place at your divine feet. Please give him your mercy.
O Gopinath, you are able to do anything, and therefore you have the power to deliver all sinners. Who is there that is more of a sinner than myself?
O Gopinath, you are the ocean of mercy. Having come into this phenomenal world, you expand your divine pastimes for the sake of the fallen souls.
O Gopinath, I am so sinful that although all the demons attain your lotus feet, Bhakti Vinod has remained in worldly existence.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashra Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttamaśloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah Namah Pankajanabhaya Namah Pankajamaline Namah Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye. Hare Krishna, we welcome you all to today's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. So today we are reading from 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, this pure devotional service, change in heart, and 12th verse. Jnanam yatapa trinivritta gunor michakram Jnanam yatapa trinivritta gunor michakram Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha Kaivalya sammatta patastvata bhakti yogaha. Ko nivritto harikata suratim na kuryat. Jnanam yad apatrinivritta gunor michakram. Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha. Kaivalya sammatta patastvatayata bhakti yogaha. Ko nirvritto harikata suratim na kuryat. Gnanam yad apatrinivritta gunor michakram. Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha. Kaivalya sammatta patastva ata bhakti yogaha. Ko nirvritto harikata suratim na kuryat. Please recite. Trinivritta gunor michakram. Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha. Kaivalya sammatta patastvata bhakti yogaha. Ko nirvrito harikata suratim na kurya. Jnanam yatapatrinivritta gunor michakram. Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha. Kaivalya sammatta patastvata bhakti yogaha. Ko nivritto harikata suratim na kurya. Jnanam yatapatrinivritta gunor michakram. Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha. Kaivalya sammatta patastvata bhakti yogaha. Ko nivritto harikata. Mataji. What meaning? Gnanam, knowledge. Yet, that which. Up to the limit of. Pratinivritta, completely withdrawn. Guna urmi, the waves of the material modes. Chakram, whirlpool. Atma prasadaha, self-satisfaction. Uta, moreover. Yatra, where there is. Guneshu, in the modes of nature. Asangaha, no attachment. Kaivalya, transcendental. Sammata, approved. Pataha, path. Tu, but. Ata, therefore. Bhakti yogaha, devotional service. Kaha, who. Nivritaha, absorbed in. Harikathasu, in the transcendental topics of the Lord. Ratim, attraction. Na, shall not. Kuryat, do. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of the material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from the material attachment, and being transcendental, it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted? Please repeat after me. Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is a knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves and whirlpools of the material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment, and being transcendental, it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted? Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita 10.9, Machitta Madgat Prana, the characteristics of pure devotees are wonderful. The complete functional activities of pure devotee are always engaged in the service of the Lord, and thus the pure devotee exchange feelings of ecstasy between themselves and release transcendental bliss. This transcendental bliss is experienced even in the stage of devotional practice, sadhana avastha, if properly undertaken under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master. And in the matured stage, the developed transcendental feeling culminates in realization of particular relationship with the Lord, by which a living entity is originally constituted up to the relationship of conjugal love with the Lord, which is estimated to be the highest transcendental bliss. Thus, the Bhakti Yoga, being the only means of God relation, is called Kaivalya. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the Vedic version, Eko Narayana Devaha Paravaranam Parame Aste Kaivalya Samjita. In this connection, and establishes that the Narayana, the personality of Godhead, is known as Kaivalya, and the means which enables one to approach the Lord is called Kaivalya Pantha, or the only means of attainment of Godhead. This Kaivalya Pantha begins from the Shravana, or hearing those topics that relate to the personality of Godhead, and the natural consequence of hearing such Harikatha is attainment of transcendental knowledge, which causes detachment from all mundane topics, for which a devotee has no taste at all. For a devotee, all mundane activities, social and political, become unattractive, and at the matured stage, such a devotee becomes uninterested even in his own body, and what to speak of bodily relatives. In such a state of affairs, one is not agitated by the waves of material modes. There are different modes of material nature, and all mundane functions in which a common man is very much interested or in which he takes part becomes unattractive for the devotee. This state of affairs is described herein as a pratinivritta gunormi, and it is possible by atma prasada, or complete self-satisfaction without any material connection. The first-class devotee of the Lord attains this stage by devotional service, but despite his loftiness for the Lord's satisfaction, he may play the voluntary part of preacher of the Lord's glory and dovetail all into devotional service, even the mundane interest, just to give the neophytes a chance to transform mundane interest into transcendental bliss. Srila Rupa Goswami has described this action of a pure devotee as Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagya Muchyate. Even mundane activities dovetailed with service to the Lord are also calculated to be transcendental or approved Kaivalya affairs. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Barijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratise Namam Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, we welcome all of you to today's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. We are reading from 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, 12th verse. And before beginning, I seek blessings from all the Vaishnavas assembled so that we can discuss from this topic. So here Sukadeva Goswami is explaining about the transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari. So this verse is similar to the verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 9th verse, which we know that Machchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantah Parasparam Katayantasya Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So Machchitta Madgata Prana. Machchitta means the devotees, they are absorbed completely in my glories. Machchitta, they complete. So devotees of the Lord, they are completely absorbed in Krishna's thoughts. Machchitta Madgata Prana. Madgata Prana means their lives are completely devoted to Krishna's service. Madgata Prana. Bodhayantaha Parasparam. Bodhayantaha Parasparam means they always discuss with one another about Krishna's top. Bodhayantaha Parasparam. Katayantasya Mam Nityam. So whenever they discuss, they only discuss about Krishna's topics. Katayantasya Mam Nityam, always. And Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So what happens while discussing such type of topics, though they what means they feel so much ecstatic or self-satisfied, and they are completely relished. They feel complete relishment when they discuss about the topics of Krishna in the association of devotees with among other. So today's verse also speaks about that. It speaks about how the topics of Harikatha, the topics which are related to Harikatha, they are so nectarian, they are it gives so much of relishment that even though a person who is not in like prema avastha, even though he is in sadhana avastha, means who is in practicing stage, sadhana stage, even he feels blissful, even he feels happy. Prabhupada is telling in the purport that this transcendental bliss is experienced even in the stage of devotional practice, sadhana avastha. So we know there are 3 types of stages: sadhana stage, and then like there are in Nectar of Devotion it's mentioned about 3 stages like sadhana, bhava, and prema. So in sadhana stage, that means we are practicing we are practicing devotional service according to the rules and regulations. And in bhava stage, we experience some kind of feelings for the Lord. And in prema stage, that means we awaken love. Our love is awakened in the heart, and we understand our real position with the Lord. Means our real swarupa. We get to know that I am originally having this type of rasa with the Lord. We know that we have like primary rasas. What are those? Madhurya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Sakya, Dasya, and then Shanta. So we understand that in the Prema Avastha, we'll understand that I have such type of relationship with the Lord and we'll have complete ecstasy. So that is Prema Avastha. So here it is mentioned that to experience transcendental bliss, we need not to get into the platform of Prema. Even in the sadhana avastha also we can experience transcendental bliss. So that is the glories of devotional service. That just by coming in contact with the devotional service, just by hearing the Krishna Katha or practicing devotional service, even though we are in the preliminary stage, which is sadhana avastha, still we can experience a transcendental bliss. And this transcendental bliss is like it is like so much that it can never be compared with the so-called material pleasure. And here it is explained about the jnanam yad apap trinivritta gunormi chakram. It is explained about the material world, the suffering of this material world, that how a person suffers in this material world, that he experiences the complete suspension of the waves and the whirlpools of the material molds. The whirlpools means the person is like, you might have seen the whirlpool. It like a tornado. It comes like that. It's like a huge wind. It moves in a circle, and whatever comes in between, it destroys actually. Certain kind of thing we can experience like when we go into like metro train. Inside the metro train in Bombay, when a person goes inside, he experiences from different sides kickings. He also experiences such kind of whirlpool condition. So in material, if we are in this material world, that means we experience such kind of trouble actually from different kinds, where we experience this complete suspension of waves and whirlpools of material modes. This burning sensation of the material world, samsara dava nalalida loka. And this burning sensation can be easily mitigated just by coming in contact with devotional service. We know the 6 characteristics of devotional service, pure devotional service. What are those? Klesha, Agni, Shubhada. So this first two, as soon as just by coming in contact with devotional service, so we'll be Klesha Agni, that means this burning sensation of the material world, it gets mitigated. We become completely peaceful. So there was one devotee was explaining that there was a businessman once. He came into Juhu temple in the evening time. He was like, later on he told that he did not sleep for like 5-6 days continuously. He was in so much anxiety that in his business dealings, he was in so much anxiety, and he was feeling so much stress, like burning, heart is burning. And he came to the temple, he took darshan, and Gita class was going on. He sat there, and as soon as class started, whether he felt transcendental bliss or he felt peaceful, that he slept throughout the class. He felt so much happy that he slept throughout the class, and the class starts like almost at 7:30, and they woke him up at like 8:15. And they woke him up at 8:15, and he got up, and he was astonished to know that he never got sleep, that he never felt sleepy from like 6 days. He was telling that now when I heard from Bhagavad Gita, when I heard those recitation of the slokas, when I took the darshan of the Lord, I felt so much peaceful that I immediately got sleep. Like he was feeling so much peace. And we should not experience that here, okay? So like that, this, as soon as when we hear the topics of Krishna, so automatically that burning sensation, the burning in the heart, it automatically it becomes cool down. It becomes cool. We feel certain kind of happiness or trance which you can exhibit. And when we are practicing sadhana avastha, when we are practicing this devotion service, sadhana bhakti, if properly undertaken under the guidance of spiritual master, we can experience the transcendental bliss. And in the mature stage, the developed transcendental feeling culminates in the realization of the particular relationship with the Lord by which a living entity is originally constituted. So thus the Bhakti Yoga, being the only means of God relation, is called Kaivalya. So Kaivalya, this word Kaivalya, it means that Kevala means this absolute. Kaivalya means that Bhakti Yoga, just like Krishna is absolute, so the Bhakti Yoga or the devotional service is also absolute. It's mentioned here that Jiva Goswami mentioned that Eko Narayana Devaha Paravaranam Paramaste Kaivalya Samjita. That means just like Krishna is a supreme Lord, he is a supreme Lord, and to attain Krishna, the only means is Bhakti Yoga. So that's what Jiva Goswami is mentioning from Vedic scriptures. In Vedic scriptures also it is mentioned that the only means to attain Krishna is this Bhakti Yoga. This Kaivalya, just like in Adi Shankaracharya, he also says that this Kaivalya means Kevala. He says that absolute monism, this oneness with the Lord, that I am one with the Lord, I am also the Lord. People say this impersonalist philosophers, they say like that. So devotees also say that is absolute devotion. Absolute devotion means that this devotional service is the only way which we can attain the Lord. Kaivalya Panta. And it is known as Kaivalya, and the means which enables one to approach the Lord is called Kaivalya Panta, or the only means of attainment of Godhead. This Kaivalya Panta begins from the Shravana, or hearing those topics that related to the personality of Godhead. And the natural consequence of hearing such Harikatha is attainment of transcendental knowledge, which causes detachment from all mundane topics, for which a devotee has no taste at all. So here it is mentioned that Vyasadeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Asvairagyam Gnanam Ched Ahetukam. So when we hear the topics of the Lord, so when we practice devotional service, Vyasadeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Janati Asvairagyam, this automatically there is causeless attainment of knowledge and detachment. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, so there is automatically these two things arise. One is attainment of transcendental knowledge, and the second thing is detachment, vairagya. Which detachment from all the mundane topics, which a devotee has no taste at all. So if a person is practicing Krishna consciousness, and if a person is practicing devotional service, that means if it is getting fructified, or if he is becoming advanced in devotional service, so one of the symptoms is that it's naturally he becomes distasteful for all the material topics, for all the mundane topics of this world. It's mentioned, for a devotee, all the mundane activities such as social and political become unattractive, and in the mature stage, such a devotee becomes uninterested even in his own body, and what to speak of the bodily relatives. So devotee, when he is becoming matured in the devotional service, he becomes disinterested with his own bodily activities, what to speak of the things which are related to his body. Just like if we seen the pastimes or the last Leela of Prabhupada when he is leaving his body, we can see that he has for like at least 1-2 months he has practically stopped eating. Actually, he's practically stopped eating, and he was hardly sleeping. He was continuously, he understood that he has very less time, so he was most of the time he was completely engaged in his recording the Bhagavatam. Like he was giving that transcription for Bhagavatam. At that time, even he was telling that I had this goal that I want to conquer eating, sleeping, and I have achieved this when I was about to leave my body. I was hardly sleeping and I was hardly eating. So these are the bodily demands: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And a person who are able to advance in Krishna consciousness, he will naturally give it up. He will naturally become distasteful from this bodily attachment. Means he will be able to give up this eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So that's we can see in the pastime of Srila Prabhupada, that he was, when he is in his last days, that even though he was in extreme old age, still he went to he went to London. He went to London, and where they have distributed the maximum number of books, and then he went there and he gave his personal association to them, just to give them some kind of relishment, happiness. And that again he came back to Vrindavan, and in Vrindavan he was whole day and night he was completely he was engaged in recording the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam transcriptions. So that's what we can see. That's what, when a person becomes matured in devotional service, so automatically he becomes distaste for this eating, sleeping. So when a person becomes unattractive, for a devotee all the mundane activities, social and political, becomes unattractive. And in the mature state, and such a devotee becomes uninterested even in his own body, and what to speak of the body relatives. In such a state of affairs, one is not agitated by the waves of the material modes. So he is not even affected by the waves of the material modes. So we can see that Srila Prabhupada, even though he is about to die, he was not affected by that extreme pain. When we are in that stage of when the death is about to appear, we feel extreme pain actually. But Srila Prabhupada, we can see at the time that his bones were practically visible, and he was hardly, and he was not moving also. He was lying on the bed for so many days. And he was not able to catch that dictaphone also. His disciples, they were catching the dictaphone, and he was speaking. And still he was not feeling any. He was completely not agitated by the waves of the material modes. So there are different modes of material nature, and all the mundane functions in which a common man is very much interested, or in which he takes part, but becomes unattractive for the devotees. This state of affairs is described herein as Pratinivritta Gunormi, and it is possible by Atma Prasada. So when a person feels complete self-satisfaction in the devotional service, so then he can automatically mitigate the sufferings of this world. When a person is not self-satisfied, when a person is not happy in the devotional service of the Lord, then he will experience the suffering of this world. He will, even though he is practicing the devotional service, he will experience the disturbances of this world when he is not advancing in Krishna consciousness. But when a person is self-satisfied, when a person experiences transcendental bliss in Krishna consciousness, so this gunormi, this pratinivritta gunormi, so these disturbances or these whirlpools of this material world, he can automatically mitigate. The first-class devotees of the Lord attains this stage by devotional service, but despite his loftiness, for Lord's satisfaction, he may play the voluntary part of the preacher of the Lord's glory and dovetail all into the devotional service, even mundane interest, just to give devotees a chance to transform the mundane interest into transcendental bliss. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that a devotee, when he is preaching, a first-class devotee, when he is preaching about the glories of the Lord, sometimes even if he takes mundane interest, He just want to connect it with the devotion service of the Lord. Like that he can help the neophytes to advance in Krishna consciousness. So there was an example, this we can tell with an example like Srila Prabhupada when he was in Bhaktivedanta manner. At that time there was a person, was a car racer, was a very famous car racer. He was a Paul, his name is something Paul Raymond something. He was a very famous like a car racer. So when he met Srila Prabhupada in that Bhaktivedanta manner, at that time, so they were discussing, the Srila Prabhupada spoke about car racing for 15 minutes. He continuously spoke about like car racing, like they were discussing about car racing. Even though it is completely mundane subject matter, still Srila Prabhupada was discussing, just because so that the person who came so that he will get connected to him. So as soon as when he spoke for 15 minutes, and Srila Prabhupada naturally he slowly converted that topic to again Krishna consciousness. He spoke about Krishna, and then again after speaking about Krishna, and then he gave that person Krishna Prasad. So when he had conversation with Srila Prabhupada about, first he spoke about this mundane subject matter about car racing, and then Srila Prabhupada slowly he converted that into Krishna Katha, and finally he gave Krishna Prasadam. So the person, when at the end he felt complete transcendental bliss actually. He felt very much happy with that small interval of time spending with Srila Prabhupada. So a devotee of the Lord, even he can dovetail even the mundane interest, even the mundane topics also he can dovetail into the devotional service. So that can be performed. By expert devotees. So by this what Prabhupada did is he developed interest in that person about the devotional service of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami has described this action of pure devotee as a nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya muchyate. So this is called nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe. That means dovetailing everything in Krishna's service. Even the mundane subject matter, even the mundane interest of a person about the car racing, he has dovetailed in the devotional service of the Lord. So that helped him in his advancement in Krishna consciousness. So even the mundane activities can be dovetailed with the service to the Lord, or as calculated to be the transcendental or approved Kaivalya affairs. So that's what about this verse, which says about it speaks about the Krishna Katha is so much relishing to the heart that even a person who is in the preliminary stage, he can experience the transcendental bliss of it. And when this devotional service it becomes matured, when it is in the matured stage, he experiences feelings for the Lord, and in the prema stage, at that time he can understand his constitutional position with the Lord, that is original constitutional position, original swarupa of the Lord, where he was having the direct relationship with the Lord, original constitutional position. And this process of bhakti, this devotional service is so powerful that just by having little bit connection with that, these characteristics mention that we can experience this kleshagni, that burning sensation, or the whirlpool of the material gunas which affects us, which gives so much of suffering to us. It becomes mitigated. We experience happiness. And we experience all auspiciousness in the life of a devotee. As soon as a devotee practices Krishna consciousness, he feels all auspiciousness in his life. There will be a happiness in his face. And all this happens by the Shravanam. So whenever a person, so that's why this Shravanam is very important in Krishna consciousness. The first step is Shravanam. So whenever he hears, so that's why there should be regular Shravanam and Kirtanam of the transcendental topics of the Lord, of Krishna Katha. Without Shravanam, we can never advance in Krishna consciousness. So this Shravanam is the basis of this Kaivalya Pantha, means the basis of this Bhakti Yoga. So when a devotee, in sadhana avastha, so when a person, when he hears regularly about this Krishna Katha, Shravanam and Kirtanam, then this automatically, so what is that verse? Automatically that Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karayodai, means the prema that automatically it arouses from his heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karayodai. So when we have this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, when we hear the transcendental topics of the Lord, which is very much attractive, it is mentioned here that who doesn't Ko Nivritta Harikatasu Ratim na Kuryat, who doesn't have attraction for these transcendental topics of the Lord? So it is so attractive that it helps the sadhaka to come into the stage of bhava, and it finally it helps him come into the stage of prema also. This shravana, the hearing the transcendental topics of the Lord. So that is the glories of the devotion service of the Lord. Even Sukadeva Goswami, he is here. He is also feeling ecstasy while speaking this verse. Ko nivritto harikathasu ratim na kuryat. Who could fail to be attracted when they are hearing about the transcendental topics of the Lord? Okay. So that's what about this verse. Okay, do we have any questions or comments from this verse? We can discuss.
So in this verse, that word is used Kaivalya, and many times Prabhupada translate that verse as Mukti, that Sayuja Mukti, liberation, Sayuja Mukti, merging in the Brahman effulgence. But here it is quite opposite.
So here it is mentioned that Kaivalya means liberation. So Kaivalya, so Eko Narayana means only Krishna can award us liberation. So that's why it's mentioned that Krishna is himself Kaivalya. Means he is the one who can award liberation, and the means which we can the means which this liberation can be attained, the only means that this liberation can be attained, that is Kaivalya Pantha, that is devotional service, that is Bhakti Yoga. So that's what is mentioned here. So you are telling that this Kaivalya, so
Kaivalya here is you're telling as devotional service, and other places it's like impersonal, that Mayavadi Pantha.
So liberation, there are different kinds of liberation also. So one of the liberation is this merging into Brahma Jyoti, but the liberation or the liberation which devotees aspire is the engaging transcendental service with the Lord, entering into the Vaikuntha. So the Bhakti Yoga, it takes to that stage, to the absolute realm of the Lord. So it's speaking about that Kaivalya. Eko Narayana Deva Paravaranam Parama Aste Kaivalya Samjita. In this connection, and establishes that the Narayana, the personality of God, is known as Kaivalya, and the means which enables one to approach the Lord is called Kaivalya Pantaha, or the only means of attainment of Godhead. So the only means of attainment of Godhead, which is Bhakti Yoga, is Kaivalya Pantha. So that's what Prabhupada is explaining. So Kaivalya Pantha means the Bhakti Yoga, or the hearing about the topics of the Lord. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any comments? Questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, I missed some portion of your talk. So you mentioned even at the sadhana stage, the devotee experience transcendental bliss. I heard one you saying he developed vairagya, and knowledge, right, about Krishna topic.
So when Shravanam, when there is a Shravanam, then by hearing, automatically this attainment of transcendental knowledge happens, and Vairagya also happens when there is a Shravanam.
So these two things make him feel blissful. How is it? Could you please elaborate?
These two things, when there is, so one thing makes him detached from all the mundane topics, which is Vairagya. And when he attains transcendental knowledge, so because of this transcendental knowledge, he experiences transcendental bliss. When he hears the topics of the Lord, so then there is attainment of transcendental knowledge. So when he is in the transcendental knowledge, so he experiences transcendental bliss. It's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that, what is that, sixth chapter, it says that, na adikam tata yasmin stuthena dikkena guranapi vichalyate. Something it comes like this. He comes into such stage that he feels that there is nothing higher to be obtained than this. He experienced so much transcendental bliss that he feels that there is nothing to obtain in this world. And when situated in such a state, even in the greatest difficulties, he is never disturbed. I am not able to recollect that verse. You know that verse, Prabhuji? Guranapi vichalyate. Huh? Idam labdva chaparam labam manyate nadikam tata yasmin sthitena dukkena guranapi vichalyate. Idam ladva chaparam labam. So when he attains this transcendental knowledge, so he experienced such a type of bliss that he experienced that there is nothing to be obtained in this world other than this transcendental knowledge. And when he is situated in such consciousness, even in the greatest difficulties, he is never disturbed. So he experienced such type of bliss actually. Sometimes we also experience such type of transcendental bliss. Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So I got question from him, this question only, follow-up question. So, but our process is that the pure devotional service means there shouldn't be knowledge.
There should be no knowledge.
So, but either it is a beginning process where we should have knowledge, and then maybe later on Lord arranged to make us forget. That is pure devotional service. Or when we are getting knowledge, transcendental knowledge, then we are being blissful, but that may not be the pure devotional stage, pure spiritual stage. So this is my question. That is this a pure devotional stage when we have beginning stage and we get knowledge, and not later on stage Lord make us to forget about the Gyan, and that is like pure spontaneous loving devotional service?
In the beginning stage, knowledge, it automatically comes as soon as when we are hearing Shravanam. So this transcendental knowledge, we experience, it is automatically comes. It is not like just like when we hear some theory and we gain knowledge, just like outside people, they hear theory and so when we hear Krishna Katha, it is not for like getting knowledge. We generally, we are not supposed to hear Krishna Katha like for getting knowledge. We hear Krishna Katha for understanding Krishna, and that pure devotional service means Gnana Karmadi Anavrita, means it is not about Gnana and Karma. It doesn't become Shunya. It doesn't become Surya, but it helps this Gnana and Karma. It dovetails. It helps Bhakti to grow. It doesn't become shunyam, just like anya abhilashita shunyam, gnana karmadi anavritam. Gnana karmadi anavritam means the gnana and karma, it doesn't become shunya. It doesn't become shunya. It dovetails, or it helps the person grow in Krishna consciousness. It helps go in bhakti. Something like that is. I'm not able to get exact words. Would like to tell Prabhuji? Nityanand Prabhu, you would like to say it? Okay, we'll discuss personally. Okay, Prabhu. Nantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.